back from holiday? Nice tent.
Summer, yeah.
Where? No, you're right. No, you're right. Weather is fantastic.
Jürgen, I don't think you'll need any reminding that your first game as Liverpool manager was down at Tottenham. We've been counting. It's game number 56 as Liverpool manager on Saturday. Can you give us some sort of assessment as to how you moved on, sort of almost 11 months on? You've had some contrasting results along the way, so you're looking for more consistency.
Yeah, that's the best answer, I would think. I made a few summaries when after the last season, and good things, not so good things, need of development, all that stuff, and of course this is a new season, and a lot of expectation from our side, from outside, all that stuff. That's how it is. A summer break is good when you have the time to work together, but you need to find rhythm. That's why all the teams don't play their best football in this moment. I would say they all can improve, they all can do better in the next few weeks and months. So that's the same for us, and I would say the same for Tottenham. But they are still both teams, I would say, Liverpool and Tottenham are both teams with consistency in the squad. So it's there are of course new players in, but not too much changes and things like this. So yeah, it will be exciting what will happen there. They are still strong, of course, and brought a few very good players in with the basis of their former squad. So that's in it. For us, I can say, yeah, everything could have been better, but it could have been worse. So, but we are still on the way. And how I said a lot of times, my team gave me a lot of really good signs to work with. And okay, we can always. It's always that the last defeat feels always stronger than the last win, especially when it's like this. Burnley is not too long ago. It's between Burnley and Tottenham was Burton, but it's I don't know how you say it, but you can nearly not win in this game. You win it, and then it's everything is clear. You have to win. You lose it, and it's a big catastrophe. So you cannot really use it for confidence growing and things like this. So, but no, so far so good. So everything is okay. We are quite optimistic for the season. But of course, we know how tough it will be at Tottenham.
Daniel Sturridge scored twice for you at Burton on Tuesday. You must have been delighted with his response and getting the team scoring goals, but he seemed to express some frustration that he's being played out wide. Is that something he's got to live with, given your squad and how he fits in?
Matt told me a little bit about that. There was an interview after the game, whatever. I think it's, first of all, you have to think a little bit about why you ask things like this. So ask a question, do you feel comfortable? Why? So I think the first thing is I don't want to play Daniel as a wide player. But of course he can start there. Of course he can play there, but in the decisive moments, he needs to be involved in all the finishing situations, and that's how I think both goals he scored from inside the box. So he was not at the wing in this moment. So that's flexible football. But of course you need to find a formation where players can start, where your style of play can start. Both games, Burnley and Burton, were games where you don't actually needed a winger. Offensive winger, these positions should have filled up by fullbacks or players from other positions, and then you have these players who are really skilled in finishing situations. You have them in and around the box. That's how football works. Then it's not a fixed position. Stay outside and wait until you get the ball, especially not in Daniel's case. So. That's absolutely no problem, and that's why I said we have still to work on a lot of things. And if I don't know exactly what he said, but so how I know him, when we have talks, there's no issue about. It's about asking a question, getting an answer, and then make a big thing of it, or don't think about it. So that's nothing.
He hasn't expressed that frustration to you then?
Of course not. When I say the position, I want to say no, I don't want to play there. No, that's not about. We don't have this position. It's not that you play there and say wait until something happens. So it's football. It's flexible football. It's passing movement. It's patterns. It's all that stuff. And then at the end, you need enough play in and around the box for finishing. That's what's his. When you think about that. And of course, when Daniel plays, for example, when a striker, center, and a striker, number 9, if you want, plays in the center and stays there, that makes no sense. So you have to change positions, and especially Daniel is a very smart player in hiding himself in positions where it's not easy to defend, and it's very often in a wing position. So when he's not involved anymore in defending, then you need a smart striker who takes the center half in the protection position from the other team, who moves them in a position where they don't feel comfortable. Things like this, it's only a starting position for the next offensive action of my team. And so that's all that stuff. It's simple football. It's nothing else. We don't have these positions anymore where you say you play this all the time, you play this all the time. Yeah, that's normal.
Hi, we just have an injury update as well, please. Obviously, Emre being the most focal, maybe.
Yeah, there are a few players a little bit in doubt, of course. So it's all of them not too serious. But we had a game on Tuesday. So the next game is in 2 days again, and so we need to wait a little bit. It's of course, it's Emre. There's nothing really serious in the ankle, but it's his ankle, if you want, where he had a few problems in the past, and so should be not really, for sure not long, but maybe not or too long for the Tottenham game. I don't know in this moment, and it's the same with Devok. It's nothing serious. It's not really, but if you have a cramp, whatever cramp exactly is, different levels. You need to have a look on it too. So it's not for sure that they will be available.
You touched upon how Tottenham have also maybe progressed since your first match as well. What challenge do they offer you, and how far forward do you think they have gone since finishing third?
They are. I think. They're absolutely convinced about their way and their style of play, and they didn't change too much. So it's high individual quality. Now they even can leave Ali out. That's I think a big difference to last year with Janssen. That's they have a really skilled striker involved in the squad, and Harry can play obviously from position from number 10 too, and did it well. Yeah, okay. Wijnaldum and Dyer, Wanyama and Dyer together in the center. It's different a little bit to Dyer and Dembele, for example. So a bit different. The rest is very experienced and plays now together. I don't know exactly 1.5, 2 years nearly. So still young, but still space for development. So that's what you need to know. But at the end, they need to play against us, and we can be. This game is of course completely different to the last 2 games we played, because the whole situation on the pitch will be different. They are a pressing team, high pressure team, Tottenham. So you need to know about this. They don't give away a lot of spaces, but there are spaces, of course, and yeah. They need to play against us, and that's the thing. So I'm not too interested in where they developed, but of course we know they are strong. And that's the only thing we need to know. But we can be strong too, and should show this at 12:30 on Saturday.
Juliet.
Hi.
In a way, Jürgen, it was almost the first choice 11 at Burton that you put out. Did you kind of use that because of the early part of the season, getting your ideas early across fitness, and obviously the international break coming up as well, where you're going to lose some of your key players that you can't work with for the next week or so?
With the international break, that's longer. Unfortunately, it's 10 days. It's 10 days. Yeah. Oh, the most important thing in this early stage of the season is that you can get rhythm. So it's not a thing about rest. There's no intensity. We can these boys recover in hours if you want. So especially it's more than if you have already 50 games in your legs, then it's quite difficult to have the next game 3 days later. But that's not the moment for this. And so there was no reason to think about the lineup in case of maybe this lineup could be enough for Burton or something. That was not 1 second something I thought about. It's only how can we win this game and who should play. And of course, for 1 or 2 players with not a perfect preseason, you have to think about if it makes sense to leave them out after the game on Saturday and on Tuesday, especially when you have really fresh, high-quality players on the bench, and that was the situation. So we could bring in Emre, we could bring in Devok. Unfortunately, these 2 players are now a little bit in doubt, but we could bring in them. We could bring Joel Matip, what I think made absolutely sense. And so it was not about the opponent, it was only about our rhythm. And we need to use each minute. So we have now, until the first international break, we have 3 weeks, if you want, season. And then after international break, another 3 weeks, and again an international break. So it's okay, international break, and they all would play in England, would be no problem, but they play all over the world, and that's the game is the smaller issue than the way or the travel they have to do. So that's really not too good, but it's for all teams the same, so we don't have to moan about it. It's only not perfect. So that's right. So we need to use this moment in the season really to get rhythm and to find together and to answer the questions we still have in our game with all that stuff and easy movement. So when you see matches of last season, I don't know, for example, in February, we are stronger now, but obviously it's not easy to show in this moment because of there's not that rhythm, not that knowledge about each way, because you cannot, even when you have a lot of preseason games are different to Premier League games. So all teams are in the same situation, but we need to collect points in this moment to have a really good base for the moment when then the league starts with all teams in best shape.
Yeah, again, you say the team is stronger now than when you took over. In what sense is that to do with fitness? Is that to do with stamina? To do with the understanding of what you want from them?
Because of the quality of the players, they are not different players, most of them, but of course they developed in the last few months, and that's how it is. So they became more experienced. We have still a quite young squad, and so they are more experienced in the things we want to do together. That's all that stuff. It doesn't mean that we better in the way of I don't know, 200% better. It's only that we feel stronger together, and that's a big point. And we have very good moment. We had very good moments together, so that makes you stronger as a group. And of course, we had 1 or 2 not so nice moments, but even that makes you stronger as a group too when you use it in the right way. And that's what we try to do. And so that's the reason why I think we are stronger now. But of course, how is that again? I understand all your questions. That's all good. I mean, you are interested. It's better than you are not interested. But we cannot say too much about all the rest of the thing. It's early in the season. We had 3 games. Felt twice good, 1 time not good. So what kind of information is in? That we had 80% possession in 2 of these games, I think, roundabout, and that's quite. It's different to most of the other games you have in the season. So we knew about it, and we tried to, or we developed in this part of the game and our ball possession. How I said before the Burton game, we used the Burnley game for the Burton game and analyzed because there were so many really good things. What you at the end not see, we cannot see because we don't finish. But we pass, and then one more pass, the right pass, obviously. And we are completely free, even against a very, very deep defending team like Burnley was. So, and it's hard after a game you lost 2-0, but it's true also. And that's what we did, and that's what we have to do. Build on on our experience now in this season, and sometimes use experience from last season, but especially create the future with this team, and that's what we are doing at the moment.
In terms of the rhythm that you're searching for, and it is difficult to find that early season, but in the games we've had so far, and also the pre-season matches, how close are you to doing that with your deep line midfield players and your holding midfielders, getting the right sort of balance?
Not sure that I understood the question 100%. How did I do?
In terms of you're looking for rhythm throughout the team, obviously, but in the system that you play, your holding midfielders are hugely important. You've had injuries to Emre Can, we know. You've tried different partnerships. How close are you to sort of to getting a more defined model of what you want?
All right. Well, that's good. Of course, we had situations where, especially in the preseason, always good. So we played with different players. Kev Stewart played a lot of times. Luke Lever played a lot of times. Then he became injured, and that's not too cool. Then, of course, we had the problem that Emre joined us pretty late, and Hando did it really well. And then we had this game, or these two games against Arsenal, if you want. There was no issue with holding midfielder or something like this. It was nearly all the goals we conceded until now was after losing a ball in possession. So that's very often we try to use situations like this too. But it was not about the player who received the pass. It was about the player who played the pass, because it was the wrong moment. And if you play a pass, you need to have an idea for the player you give the ball to. So it's not that you give him the ball and think, okay, no, do something. So it's about giving him the ball, because you know if he gets the ball, then he has 2 or 3 options. And in these situations, that was more the issue than something about holding, because that's always a weak situation when you try to switch game in offense and create a formation where you can use the space you have. Then if you lose the ball in the wrong moment, that's the most difficult moment to defend. You have no formation for defending. So that's what we had in the games. Yeah, in both actually. At Burnley, we conceded a goal like this. Then in the end, I know, against Burnley, we lost around the second goal. I think we lost 4 challenges in a row. That's not about one player and one position. It was 4 challenges, which that's a big mistake. And we had 4 times the possibility to win the ball, and we didn't do it. And around the first goal, we lost the ball, and we could have found, I think, 2 challenges and had no challenge. We got at the end. I think Vogue was first goal, could score the goal, and that's the things we work on. But it's not about a player on a position. It's about how can we improve in situations like this. We need to be harder in situations like this, not more unfair. We need to be harder against ourselves. Really press in the challenge, not to give them the chance to, with one movement, to create space again. So on. That's all. So we saw all, and it's. I know. It's then all about change the player or things like this, or somebody else has to play there. But if we all would have been judged in our life after one mistake, we would not sit here. So stay cool with this. And when you are convinced about the quality of the players, then you have to you have to take still the weaknesses. That's how it is. There is no perfect player out there. But we made decisions, real decisions about these players, and we are convinced about these players. So now we work together. And on all, we can work.
Transfer window question, I'm afraid. You like it. There's less than a week to go, and you've got 2 or 3 players who have not really featured here, like Mario, Balotelli, Markovic. Do you have a plan in mind for what happens if they're still here in a week's time and they've not moved on? You spoke recently about sort of responsibility towards players who are playing as well. I just wondered if you had a plan for them.
How could I? That's the situation in the squad. You have to make decisions about the squad, and of course, until the 31st of August, everything is possible. So, when it's the 1st of September, then we have to analyze the situation, and then we have to think about what we would do then. But building a squad means giving all the ideal squad is a squad where everybody has the perspective to play, and if the player have different bases in their expectations, I would say that means that you need to have these players who are convinced that they have to start. They need to be angry when they don't start. Even sometimes I can discuss about positions. That's not a problem. That's life, and that's then my job to speak and talk to them about this. And you need players. They are most of the time these are young players. They are happy to breathe the same air than we do, but are strong enough to help us in the important moments. That's how you build a squad, and for different positions, different solutions, and all that stuff. And in our situation, of course, the squad should not be too big, because we have still a lot of games, because it's England and different cup competitions and things like this, but we don't have 60-something games. So, and to have a good atmosphere, all the players need to see their perspective. And that's what we are working for. In this moment, there's no reason to think about what could happen if we have a too big squad, because we are working on this side. But at the end, I can't say anything about it before the 1st of September.
Does that mean Mario is closer to a move away, Jürgen?
Actually, it's not. I would say I inform immediately when the decision is closed. So obviously, there's no decision in the next few minutes. So there's nothing to say about this. No, but I think there's all things are said about this.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome. Oh, okay.
Yeah.